You're now listening to Mark Who 42 from the Whoniverse and beyond.
This episode of Mark Who 42 is sponsored by Highlander Novelties and Comics and Games. Highlander Novelties is a one-stop shop for pop and geek culture items. They specialize in the unique and throwback characters from the past and present. They carry new and back-issue comics, pop, Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and more. They even have decals that they make themselves and badges. Highlander Novelties is located at the West Oaks Mall in Ocoee, Florida. That's 9401 West Colonial Drive, Suite 520. That's Highlander Novelties at the West Oaks Mall in Ocoee, Florida, 34761. And tell them Mark Who 42 sent you.
Hello, this is Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who number 7. On Mark Who 42. What on earth is that? I've no idea, really. All these numbers.
Welcome to Mark Who 42. That's right, Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me, as ever, is
Iggy Matthews.
And, boy, we've got a show for you today. But first, let's introduce our other co-host we have on the show. It's a name that will probably be hard to roll off the tongue because I have not used this name in this fashion before. It's Trish Helm Fryer.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Yeah, because we're used to having you as, Trish Helm, but you got married. You got married to that Ed guy. There was somebody named Ed that was on our show near the beginning, and Trish was on since the beginning. But there's this Ed guy, and somehow they hooked up, and they're man and wife now. So cool.
All thanks to you.
Thanks.
I get to blame you if it doesn't go well.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that if it doesn't go well, I'm going to be drawn into divorce proceedings because I'm the one who set it up. I feel bad. Anyway, we could talk about, our show is going to be great today because we are featuring Long Island Who, L.I. Who interviews. We sent Patty Hawkins out to L.I. Who last month, and he got some great one-on-one interviews with Barnaby Edwards, the Dalek operator and Big Finish director, Edward Russell, the Doctor Who brand assistant at Cardiff, John Leeson, voice of K9, Katy Manning, yay, Katy, Joe Grant, Dave Jones, Richard Ashton, who played the Ice Warrior Friday in Empress of Mars, Sylvester McCoy, the Seventh Doctor, and Warris Hussein, the very first director on Doctor Who. We have so many interviews for you on this episode, all courtesy of L.I. Who. But you know what we're going to do first? We're going to Mark Who 42 News with anchor person Iggy Matthews. Iggy, what do you have in the world of Mark Who 42 and beyond?
Well, let's start it off with the trending hot news. The trailer for Twice Upon a Christmas has dropped.
It looks so good.
It does. It's like, I was watching this trailer, and there's so much action going on. What's going on? All right. And obviously the key point right here is that David Bradley, who reminds me an awful lot of Willie Nelson. I can't help it. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Don't be. My mom, the very first Harry Potter movie, when I took my mom to see it, when he came on screen as Filch, she leans over to me, she goes, I didn't know Willie Nelson was in this.
Oh, I can't help it. He looks like Willie Nelson a little bit.
Oh, he does. He really does.
I've never seen that. I'm going to have to look into this.
No, and then when you see it, what has been seen cannot be unseen. Okay, so just be careful. Okay?
Maybe I won't do that.
So we have two doctors. Okay, and honestly, the most gut-wrenching part of the trailer is seeing that little glimpse of Peter Capaldi's regeneration. And when you look at the regeneration, if you just pause it and you kind of zoom in and look at it, you can almost see Jodie Whittaker's face kind of in the outline there, and that's something that I noticed.
Kind of like in the 50th anniversary when John Hurt is regenerating. If you go to the last frame, there's like kind of a glimpse of Christopher Eccleston, even though he didn't do it.
Within the light. It's not like you can see her face clearly, but in the big bright lights, you can almost see the blonde and the feminine in there, and I'm like, oh my God, no, it's real. Not that I'm against Jodie Whittaker, but I'm gonna miss Peter so much, so much.
Me too.
You know,
it would have been cool to see what he could have done with a new showrunner. It would have been cool, but I understand that they want Chris Chibnall would love to start fresh, not be constrained by what anybody wrote before. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be so interesting. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Either. You know why else I can't wait for the Christmas
special?
Because Weekend TARDIS in South Florida is running a Doctor Who viewing party. We're gonna have a pub open on Christmas Day so that we can all get together and watch this episode together as a Whovian crowd.
Wow.
It's going to be wonderful. I wish I was there.
It's going to be at Ye Old Falcon Pub in Davie, Florida. Doors open at 6. I'm pretty sure BBC America will start the episode at 9 as usual. And we will probably beforehand watch the final 2 episodes of the last season, which leads up to this, because it's kind of a trilogy, sort of. I mean, Rachel Talalay direct all 3 of them, so it's kind of a trilogy. So we're all going to meet there, and it's going to be fun. There's going to be pub food, other food. We're going to have, it's a pub, so there'll be drinks, but it's open to all ages, so kids can come too. It's going to be a hoot. And hoot spelled W-H-O-O-O-O-T.
Oh my God.
That's woot.
Well, no, it's hoot.
No, Woot
Dr. Hoot
would be W-O-O-T, but then
you're right.
Hoot.
Yeah. Hoot. Yeah, no. So, when you're talking about that, it almost sounds like, we're going to go to this pub, and we're going to have fun, okay?
That's right, we are. I'm telling you, we're going to have fun.
I think there's going to be tears, too. There's going to be some tears, though, too. Make sure you bring some Kleenex.
Right, but the tears are what the sonic screwdrivers are for, and the other liquor specials that we'll have.
Oh.
You know what? And speaking of sonic screwdrivers, okay, there is that little tidbit that actually got me excited when I saw the trailer, which is David Bradley and Peter Capaldi arguing the sonic sunglasses, and he's like, but you're indoors, there's already going to be that banter of like, what is future me actually doing right now? Like, is this for real? And there's that banter that we all love with the doctors coming together in different wibbly wobbly timey wimey things. What were you guys' opinion on the trailer?
Oh, I loved it.
I agree, all of it. I had a great time watching that. I'm
just watching it and I'm just like, why isn't it Christmas now? Come on. Well,
it's only, 2 weeks
I know.
away?
It's not that long. It's really not that long of a wait. It's actually come quick. The older you get, the faster time goes, and yeah, it's totally true.
It's Illuminati. Anyway, so...
always the Illuminati, right?
It has to be the Illuminati. They pay for this show.
I bet they do.
I knew it! One thing that I did like, and I'm like, ooh, is watching the 2 TARDISes going almost like in formation through the time-traveling wormhole loopy wipe thing, majigger stuff. These are technical terms, guys. You better be paying attention.
I forgot how much I love you, Iggy.
The next article.
And you can find all these articles at markroom42.net. Thank you. Drink.
So Laughter Rising, just kidding. It's Marvel Rising Secret Warriors. Ooh. Okay, so for those of you who are nerdy as all get out, I will give you a little bit of information about this. This is going to be dropping in 2018. It is going to be a brand new animation franchise, which I know at least a couple people who are going to be interested in this. It is starting the next generation of Marvel heroes, and it's going to be produced by John Quesada, Dan Buckley, Court Lane, Eric Radomski, and co-executive produced by Stan Lee and Senna Amanant and Marsha Griffin. Okay, so it's going to start with 6 4-minute digital shorts with spotlight on Spider-Gwen with her new secret moniker, Spider-Ghost, or Ghost Spider. My apologies.
Ghost Spider.
Ghost Spider.
Nick Cage as Ghost Spider.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's going to be, that's how
scary.
the audience is going to be introduced to the world of Marvel Rising. So a few of the characters that you're going to be seeing is going to be Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Ghost Spider, a.k.a. Spider-Gwen, Quake, a.k.a. Daisy Johnson, The Patriot, Inferno.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Daisy from Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be in this?
Yes, Daisy Johnson, Quake. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. They really are tying the Marvel Universe together in all different ways.
Yes.
Ooh, yes. I think
Then
it's
we
always
have-
cool when they do that.
But they're stuck in space. They're in deep space. Well, not deep space. They're right out.
Well, I guess
they're
they
right
got
on the outside
unstuck.
of Earth in the future. But I've spoiled Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this year.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet. I have it on my DVR.
Okay, all I know is they completely decided, you know what, it's easier not to work in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, so we're going to go completely tangent so that we can't be affected by what happens in the Marvel Universe when they do Avengers and all that stuff. So
That
it's
is
a major
laziness.
different direction.
Jeez. I
We're also
expected
going
more
to have.
from Disney. Oh, jeez.
We're also going to have.
Yes, can I help you? Were you going to say something, Iggy? Or
The
Iggy?
Patriot, Inferno, American Chavez, and of course Captain Marvel.
American Chavez, gonna let me be.
Oh my God, you did not just spin that.
He did. He did.
Oh my God.
Bye
You did not.
bye bye.
Just keep going, Iggy. Just go on.
Somebody
Go
pull
ahead.
him off the stage. Who put this guy on the stage?
It's open
So
mic night at
anyways-
Marku 42.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, we're going to talk about the article. I'm going to hit me, baby, one more time.
There
Okay.
you go. See, you can do it. There you go.
So yes, it's Marvel Rising, Secret Warriors. So don't expect this to be like a film that's coming out or like a live action series. It's going to be animated and it's going to be great. I feel like animated series do it better with the stories. I don't know, content, but this I think is going to try to explain a few things as well as fill in some holes and provide more story. And I think that this is not a coincidence. We have the Infinity Wars movie in the trailer that dropped last week.
Oh, yeah.
So I think because of all the hype and everything that's going on, we're trying to bring more characters in. And also there's a lot of rumors that we are not going to have just one superhero death, but multiple with Infinity Wars. Is that true? Is that not true? Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. But in case there is, I feel like this Marvel Rising Secret Warriors is definitely going to help ease the wound to say, hey, focus on this and perhaps be on the lookout. Or maybe something that could come up in the big screen.
And
To this effect. We know Captain Marvel is-
there to remind me.
All we are is dust in the wind. I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay.
Boy, that trailer for Infinity War was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
Oh
like,
my God.
that movie is going to be epic. And I just wonder, this is probably something maybe Iggy was going to talk about, I don't know, but about the whole Disney trying to buy Fox Universal and all that. You know, it's like, if that goes through, do you think that they'll make changes before Infinity War comes out? Do you think they'll try to slip in some cameos that weren't originally going to be in there?
If we go based on just Thor Ragnarok itself and the amount of cameos that were in that movie, I mean, Disney is notorious for always changing content because they want it to be their own. They want it to be great. They want it to be memorable. And so I absolutely do think that they're going to change things. And I absolutely feel like there's definitely going to be cameos and a little bit of teasers like, why was this person there? And why is this thing over here? And basically like little hints of what might be, could be, should be, maybe.
The new Marvel character that will be appearing in the Avengers movie, Stitch. And it's Disney, so they'll be putting...
I don't know about that.
And then we'll have Cinderella will be appearing in Black Panther. I don't know if you knew that. They're doing crossovers everywhere.
Jeez. Oh.
Yeah, this is
Do you think that they can redeem Fan Four Stick?
No, they cannot. No, they cannot. And they need to put it to rest, okay? Put it in a coffin. Let's have a 21-gun salute. I'll go all out, okay? But it needs just put it to rest, okay? Same with X-Men movies. I'm pretty much done. I'm at the end of my rope with that one. I'm done.
If this deal goes through, that's what they're going to get.
Yeah.
You know, and then also they're saying that Disney might be able to tease Hugh Jackman out of retirement to be Wolverine again.
It's Disney.
Oh my God.
It is Disney. Disney does a lot.
Yeah.
So
You know what I think Disney does, honestly? Like, in my mind, because you know what? I think I've been watching way too many spy movies, okay? But I imagine, like, an agent of Disney coming out in a black suit, and he pulls out, like, a Mickey Mouse-shaped badge, and I'm Agent Goofy, okay? And if you don't want these photographs of your indiscretions to be leaked, we need you to come back on the Wolverine movie. And these are our terms and stuff, you know? And then he's like, oh, darn. I'm going to have to. I can't possibly have that leaked. And before you know it, you have the most wonderful X-Men movie out there, because we don't know how in the heck Disney is doing this, but they are putting out wonderful movies, and they don't care about the rating. They're doing whatever it takes to do it right. I'm just excited. Whatever. It's a conspiracy theory, and I'm going to stand by that. It's Illuminati's behind this. I'm just saying, okay? And they're under that castle in Disney World. I'll prove it eventually.
I just hope one of these days to go to one of the Disney parks and see Deadpool walking around. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Not really, because then we're going to have, you know, how's it going, children? And then, you know, hip grinding, and, you know, somebody's going to bump into him, and he's going to be like, F you, okay? See how you just have to bleep that out? Disney can't do that. Not in the park.
No, in the park they'd have a problem bleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
That bleeping part.
Just remember, though, that he is a Hufflepuff, so he might be able to behave himself there. He might.
Well, I mean, the Disney characters walking around the park don't talk, do they?
No, not the ones that walk around the park, but
Yeah,
like
so
the meet and
Deadpool.
greets. But they do have
but Deadpool is notorious for his mouth. Almost every villain that Deadpool has encountered has talked about the mouth he's got on him.
Well, he's the merc with the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. How do you not have him speak like that? It's not Deadpool.
Yeah, it's not that one stupid Wolverine movie, you know, where they stitched his mouth shut, and it was like, that's Deadpool, really?
Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
That was horrible.
Do you know the story behind that one?
Yeah. Who am I married to? You think I don't know all the backstory to all this crap?
And on that note, we're going to go to our next article.
Anyways, the next article is about body parts.
What?
Guess which one? It's the eyes, guys. Get your head out of the gutter.
Okay.
It's the eyes.
Okay. I thought we were going explicit tag. I wasn't sure.
No. What?
We went
What?
there with
This
what
is
you
a
just said
family
minute
show.
ago. With what you just said a second ago, we went to the explicit tag. If it wasn't for me hitting the beep button at the right time.
Well, I blame Deadpool, okay?
Okay,
because...
I blame Deadpool too.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you saying
right.
about a body part?
So, seems that we might be on the verge of filling in a plot hole with Peter Capaldi's eyes. So back in the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, we saw our 12th Doctor appear by eyes and could not wait to see him in action. Yet, as Twice Upon a Time marks the end of Peter's run as the Doctor, why have we not yet seen the part in the 50th anniversary in full? Could it be that wibbly-timey-wimey event about to happen? So in newly released pictures from Twice Upon a Time, we've seen a certain hexagon pattern on the background walls, but the first Doctor's TARDIS had round walls.
Roundels, yeah.
So how did they get there? If you remember in the scene with Matt Smith and Tom Baker of the 50th anniversary, they were on the wall as they spoke about good times. Mm-hmm. The production team at BBC is noted for reusing bits of old sets to help create all the new and old TARDIS.
Why is everyone, because of those weird shapes on the wall, doing a rumor about possibly filling in a plot hole, which isn't really a plot hole, because those eyes could have happened in an unfilmed adventure, and they don't need to be on. But why aren't people going, wow, those walls, Tom Baker's going to be in this? Why aren't they saying that as the rumor?
Because people want to know the plot holes. Okay.
But I want to see Tom Baker again.
Well, okay, but at the same time, we're also catering to a newer audience that doesn't really know Tom Baker that well. So it's not going to be the first thing that comes to their mind of, oh my God, Tom Baker, unless we have really true and dedicated fans who see New Who and decide to go, wait, let's go back and find out who this David Bradley guy is, the same that's two doctors, so let's go back and watch this. And then you see Tom Baker and all these people, and then maybe you can make that connection. But it's newer audience, so that's not necessarily going to be what stands out.
Gotcha.
What's funny about this is that Eddie, my husband, ever since he first saw that first scene in the 50th, he kept on saying, I hope that they show us how that scene came to be. He's like, I really want to see that.
Well, yeah, a lot of people want to see it, but I just don't know if it's necessary. Because
I agree.
We didn't see the third Doctor or the fourth or the fifth or the sixth or the seventh or the eighth have those scenes. We just saw, when did they happen? We've seen all their adventures. It never happened to them. So why do we have to see the 12th Doctor do it?
People like things in nice little packages nowadays. They like putting the bow on it, Yeah,
and but it also comes back to the newer audience. It's we are in a generation where there is a high demand for entertainment, for content. And back then, it was about the quality and the story of the show. And I'm not saying that it isn't now, but just looking through the social media on Jodie Whittaker, there's hardly any mention of the story. They are picking apart this woman, her outfit, her hair, her everything, what it could mean, what it might not mean, what it could be, what it could not be, things like that. And the newer audience is definitely night and day from the older version. The older
well, of course, nowadays with our technology too, you can download an episode and you can slow it down. You can go through it frame by frame and pick it completely apart. Back then, it came on TV and, picture quality wasn't as good as it is now. And that was your one shot to see it. And even if you did have a VCR and recorded it and tried to slow it down, good luck trying to even spot anything that's, a little
not through
detailed.
Those lines.
No, exactly.
I remember back
nowadays.
in the day when it's like, hey, did you see that new episode of Friends? Crap, I missed it. Oh, man.
Have to wait till summer. Yep, have to wait till summer to see the reruns. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now it's not a matter.
On demand.
Okay, Iggy, what's next?
Okie dokie. So, next we have, I'm trying to decide between two articles right now. So let's speak French.
Oh, I like to speak French. Voulez-vous... I can't do this.
No.
Voulez-vous coucher à mes voix?
There you go. See, yes, if we could sing that, that would be great. I'm ruining this show left and right, aren't I, folks? Hey, coming up, we've got all these great interviews, so don't go away just because I'm being a total...
Womp womp. All right. So, it seems that Tom Baker, our beloved fourth Doctor, loves the idea of the female Doctor Who, but he wanted a little French in his Doctor. Okay?
Oh.
So...
that doesn't sound very kosher.
Allow me to explain, okay? If Tom Baker was allowed to pick a female Time Lord, it would have been Dawn French.
Oh,
I love her.
That's polite.
I love her.
Yes, she is best known for the Britcom French and Saunders.
And don't forget the vicar. Don't forget the Vicar of Dibley. That's my favorite.
Vicar of Dibley. Oh, yes, she was good in that.
Well, I remember her as the fat lady in the painting from the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, but that's just me. But he said that would be his pick. If he were to pick a female Time Lord, he would have picked Dawn French. So, obviously, you guys are all about it. And if it was Dawn French,
I would be so happy.
I would like that too. I like Jodie Whittaker in the role, but if they had said it was Dawn French, I'd have possibly been even more excited about it.
I think I would have been too if it had been Dawn. Because and she's an older woman too. She's I don't even know how old she is now, but
she's older than I am. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know.
So that's old.
That's real old, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Baker explained to Radio Times why he wanted. I swear, all the listeners of Mark Who 42 understand the trauma that I have to endure at the hands of these two. Okay,
she's 60 years old. Just so you know.
Oh.
She's looking... Are you serious? She looks great for 60. Wow. So Tom Baker explains to Radio Times exactly why he wanted Dawn to play the Doctor. He definitely feels that she would have been witty and quirky, and basically all the features that we are looking for in a Doctor, he felt that she would have fit the bill perfectly. Only remember her from Harry Potter, so you guys would have a better sense of what he's talking about.
You need to go on Netflix or wherever to find Vicar of Dibley. You would laugh your butt off.
I can't. This is the only butt I have. I need to keep this. It's my greatest asset, if you know what I'm saying.
Ooh, and on that note,
Not what I'm looking at right now.
French and Saunders. All right. So the Vale Yard could be returning to Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a villain from classic Doctor Who series, and he might be making a comeback during the Christmas special. That episode is going to be the final episode in which Peter Capaldi will play the part of the Doctor, so don't be getting any ideas, okay? He will be reunited with his former companion, Bill Potts, played by Pearl Mackie, as well as the first Doctor, played by David Bradley. During the Christmas special, Capaldi's Doctor will generate into the first ever female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker. The fact that the Vale Yard may be returning is only speculation at this point. The only thing known for sure is that Mark Gatiss is playing the part of a captain called Averlady.
Ooh, and you know what? I bet if I change the letters, kind of like Doctor Who Returns in the Torchwood, if I change the letters of the name of the character that Mark Gatiss is playing, I bet I come up with Valliard.
Probably, kind of like Tom Marvolo Riddle turns into Lord Voldemort.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they used to do this with the Master all the time. When Anthony Ainley played the Master and they didn't want the public to know that he was going to be in it, the Master was going to be in it, they would change the spelling of his name and do an anagram and list it in the credits as that. So there was like James Surker's the name of an actor who was playing the part of the French guard of the king in King's Demons. And actually, James Stoker was just an anagram for Master's joke.
Oh, really?
They did other names where they changed Anthony Ainley to like Neil J. Toney or something. So, yeah,
So my question here is, does that mean that the first and 12th Doctors will encounter the Vale Yard? Or is the captain just an old World War I soldier who just so happens to be at the same place and same time as the two Doctors? Fishy.
Very fishy.
I don't put anything past Moffat anymore.
So very high possibility that the Vale Yard might be returning, especially since it's an old Doctor Who villain, and then we have the first Doctor here with us. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Things are lining up in a very peculiar way. So to make this assumption wouldn't be quite ridiculous, especially with the name thing, Averlady, Vale Yard.
And especially because Stephen Moffat just does things like that to us, to screw with us.
Maybe. I guess we're going to have to find out. Right. So, as Porky Pig would say, that's all for folks. But I only say it like that because it's cold outside.
This news segment of Mark Who 42 has been sponsored by Cosplay Convention Center. You can find more information by clicking the link on markwho42.net. They are a database for cosplayers, for anyone who works in the convention limelight. If you're looking for us, we're there. They have a database that narrows down where we're going to be. If you're looking for Doctor Who conventions in your area, this is a place to look. If you're looking for certain people going to conventions, you can find them there too. This database is amazing, and it's wonderful to use if you need to find out about your favorite genre, your favorite podcasts, your favorite professional cosplayers. Check out the Cosplay Guide. Again, you can find their link on markwho42.net. Okay, well, since we're done with the news, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to have interviews from Long Island Who, the convention that was just held last month in November in Long Island, New York. The guests, Barnaby Edwards, Edward Russell, John Leeson, Katy Manning, Richard Ashton, Sylvester McCoy, and Warris Hussein, all conducted by Patty Hawkins. We'll be back with that right after this.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Hey, Iggy.
Yes?
I know that you started watching Doctor Who as a newbie, with the new show, but have you gotten a chance to watch all 7 classic Doctors in action?
I have not.
Well, you can find the most complete collection of Doctor Who ever broadcast in the U.S. on retro TV.
Shut the front door. Are you serious?
I'm serious, and you don't even need cable for this. This is over-the-air television. You have an HD antenna. You can watch around the country retro TV. Many of the stories have been remastered and enhanced from their original film and videotape elements, so they come out beautifully perfect in HD.
Mind blown.
It's free. You just have to go to your TV and find retro TV, and you can watch all the great Doctor Who. They show 2 episodes Monday through Friday, and they show more than that.
I think I shall get my pajamas and my Ben & Jerry's then.
And recently they've added news stories. Not news stories as in like they made news stories, but news stories that they haven't had in rotation, such as several Patrick Troughton tales that weren't on before. They're adding them to them. So there's more to watch because, those news stories became available. Web of Fear and Enemy of the World. So they've added things like that.
Oh my, I'm excited.
So don't forget to go and look for Retro TV and watch Doctor Who. You can go to RetroTV.com and look for their schedule for exactly when Doctor Who is on in your area.
I'm logging in as we speak.
Hey, Mark, are you busy?
Well, I'm kind of doing my podcast right now, honey.
I want to show you this website. I saw these cool things at Florida SuperCon, and the website is www.drwhocrystals.com. My birthday's coming up.
It is. Let me type that up right now.
So do you see this? They are laser engraved crystals with pictures of the Doctor in the TARDIS. I want one for the living room. I've always wanted to have a TARDIS in the living room, but I've always been afraid that it's going to look like
But, these look really good. I mean, they're 100% crystal, and it looks like Peter Capaldi. And I know that at Florida SuperCon, these guys, because I did meet them, and these guys got the rights to Peter Capaldi's likeness. They've had the likeness of the first and second Doctor. They've made them. Really want one of these?
Yeah, I've heard that they work closely with the BBC to get the pictures just right, and you really have to order one. It only weighs about 3 pounds. It's a real thing of beauty, okay? It looks elegant, and you have to check it out. Their website is www.drwhocrystals.com, and they are so affordable, Mark, that I want one for my birthday. And then, in a couple of months, the holidays are coming up. Get one for me then, too.
You got it, hon.
Hello, this is Barnaby Edwards, calling from the planet Skaro. I am a Dalek operator in Doctor Who, and I am coming to you on Mark Who 42.
And we're back with more of Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me is Iggy Matthews and, if I get this right, Trish Helm Fryer, because the Fryer part always throws me. Congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're doing these Long Island Who interviews, and I just thought I'd get you folks into them. Barnaby Edwards is up first. We're going to go alphabetical order by their first name. Yeah, I've seen that done somewhere before. I don't know where. But Barnaby Edwards is up first. He's a Dalek operator and Big Finish director, and Patty Hawkins talks to him right now.
Hi everybody, Patty Hawkins here on assignment with Mark Who 42 at Long Island Who, and rejoining us is the inestimable Barnaby Edwards, voiceover actor and part-time Dalek jockey. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be back.
Back to you. So what have you been up to since last time we talked?
Probably exterminating inferior life forms around the galaxy.
Oh, how droll.
I've also just been narrating the official audiobooks for Peter Jackson's new movie.
Oh, really?
Mortal Engines, which is based on a series of books by Philip Reeve. So I've been doing the official voiceover, the official audiobooks of those, which has been great fun. And I'm currently directing something for Audible, a great big audio drama for Audible. So I'm busy.
Really? Can you tell us about the drama?
It's a big historical epic starring... I've got a pretty good cast together. I don't know whether any of them... Do you know an actor called Douglas Booth? He's very, very sort of...
I'm nodding my head yes, because I want to say it sounds
Google
familiar.
him. He's ludicrous.
Kind of the same way you thought you recognized me.
Yeah, he's ludicrously handsome. So there'll be lots about him on the internet. But he's done loads of movies. And Miriam Margolyes.
So you cast a ludicrously handsome actor in an audio drama.
He's got a lovely voice. He's incidentally ludicrously handsome. It's got Miriam Margolyes in it, and Alison Steadman, and Samuel West, and lots of great people. So I'm having a ball. It's going to be a 30-hour full cast drama.
Oh my goodness!
It's the largest thing Audible have ever done. So I'm burning through the money.
How many weeks is that in studio?
Well, we have to. It's 30 days in studio.
Okay. Yeah.
But we're having to sort of separate it out because people are going to be too exhausted otherwise.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
But I've done 2/3 of it, and I've got a third to go back and do.
Wow, what an undertaking!
Yeah, it's great fun though.
That's going to be what, 4 CDs?
Yeah, it'd be 30 CDs.
30 CDs?
30 CDs. Yeah. 30
yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, indeed. So, yeah, take that, BitTorrents. Okay. Do you recall your first appearance at an American convention?
Yes.
And what was that like?
I love American conventions. It was Gallifrey a couple of years ago in LA, because there's a difference between American Doctor Who fans and British Doctor Who fans. British Doctor Who fans love Doctor Who, but when they go to a convention, all they talk about really is the bits of Doctor Who they don't like the 1% that they don't like.
Really?
So they kind of forget that they love 99% of it, and then they spend most of the convention going, I didn't like the script on that episode, and you think, well, that's one episode out of 300 that you're... Whereas you go
like when Chibnall was on that show when he was 13, and they...
Yeah, that's a standard Doctor Who fan,
right?
In the UK. But you come to America, and American fans are just as discerning as UK fans, so they don't like everything about Doctor Who, but they remember critically that they're fans of the show and that they like the show. So you go to a Doctor Who convention in America, and it's so full of positivity. Everyone's enthusiastic about of course there are bits that they're discussing that they don't like, but they concentrate on the positive, they accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and it's fantastic. It's just it's such a sort of an enriching and positive experience because everyone's so just lovely.
We save our negativity for the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where it belongs.
Yeah. I once did a signing in the UK for someone, and 3 people came down from Newcastle in the north of England. It's quite a trip, so maybe 5 hours to get to where I was signing in London. And they came specifically to get my autograph, and I was trying to be nice to them. I was being nice to them. I was being nice and charming, and it seemed to be all fine. And then they'd mentioned their blog that they wrote, and I thought, in a moment of madness, about sort of 3 days later, I thought, I'll have a look on the internet and see what they're... And they wrote this big piece about, we didn't even go to see him. We weren't even interested in seeing Barnaby Edwards. And he seemed very, very full of himself, as if we'd especially come to see him. And anyway, we didn't even like the CD that we asked him to sign. And I thought, sorry, why did you come? Why did you spend all that money and come all that way just for my autograph and then say that you didn't like it?
It's unusual.
Someone queued up once my autograph for a big Finnish Doctor Who CD. It was called Doctor Who and the Pirates, which is it has a sort of musical episode. So it's like that episode of Buffy where they all sing.
Yeah.
And they came from a long way away to do this. They queued up, and normally what you ask is, have you had a chance to listen to it yet, or something like that. And I said to them, thanks very much for coming. Lovely to meet you. Have you had a chance to listen to it? And they went, no, I won't be listening to it. I think the whole idea of it is ridiculous. And I said, well, why have you bought one? And he said, well, I've got all of them on my shelf. And I said, well, look, if you hate it that much, why don't you buy 2? And he very nearly did. He sort of like a moment of thinking. Then I think sense kicked in.
Wait, you're trying to be duplicitous with me, right?
No, I mean, those little things are just, they're fab anecdotes. I mean, I'm a huge fan of fans and fandom. I just, as you say, if you don't look on the internet, it's lovely. When you actually meet fans, it's just the best thing.
In most of the time at conventions, you're meeting Jekyll.
Yeah.
And then they go home at night, and then you'll see Mr. Hyde, Especially about 5 minutes after a new episode is broadcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Or we'll say maybe like 3 days after a new Big Finish is dropped.
Yeah. Just after, once they've worked out their little cutting remarks, that'll...
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's all part of the process.
Yeah,
that's always been the same. And it's just because the internet exists, you would go and tell that to your friends at school when you were at school, but now that the internet exists, they can actually put that out there. It doesn't mean that they love it any the less. It's just they want to make a witty remark, and I remember doing that when I was younger too.
I remember when I was young, I think.
I've got photographs somewhere of when I was young. I remember it vaguely.
Yeah, all mine are in black and white. What social media outlets can we follow you on?
You can find me on Twitter, just Barnaby Edwards. You can find me on Instagram, same thing. I
love it when voice actors have Instagram.
Yeah. I've got
completely non-verbal.
I've got SoundCloud and stuff like that, but I never put anything out there because all my stuff is already out there anyway on Audible and stuff like that.
You're too busy working.
I'm too busy working. That's the way to look at it.
You don't want to come home and talk for free.
You can find me on Tumblr. I have a Tumblr one as well.
Oh, excellent.
And I have a thing. If you go to Redbubble, which is an art site, I've got lots of my artwork that you can get on T-shirts and postcards and things like that.
Artists as well.
That's what I trained as before I went into acting, and indeed what I put down the mortgage on my first house on. It's just proceeds of art.
What's your preferred medium?
I love all of them. I like oil painting a lot, but I do a lot of pen and ink work for illustrations and things.
Excellent.
And I've just got a new iPad Pro, so I'm playing around with Procreate, which is very exciting.
I've heard very good things about that. I've had some artist friends.
Amazing, because it works in the same way that it does with art. So it's about layering, so you can do underpainting, and then you can paint over it, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very flexible and very much like the whole process of actually creating a physical work of art.
Well, excellent. We'll definitely talk about that in the show. And by all means, if you love his voice, check out Redbubble, and check out some of his visual works as well. Barnaby, thank you for joining us, and have a great weekend here at Long Island.
A great pleasure. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Barnaby. And now, hey, so, Doctor Who is a brand, kind of like Mark Who 42 is a brand. So you need someone to run it, to keep it in check, and that's what our next interview subject is, Edward Russell, here at L.I. Who.
Hi, this is Patty Hawkins on assignment with Mark Who 42, and I am joined today by
Edward Russell.
How about you? You were the brand
the brand manager.
Your brand manager. So basically, you're kind of the keeper of the canon for extended canon.
Well, yeah, everything that's not the main TV program itself, I kind of look after in a way. It doesn't mean I do the work, but it means I look over all the people that do. First of all, you've got the marketing, photography, publicity, and so on and so forth, and it's keeping an eye on all that to make sure it's sort of true to the Doctor Who brand. But yeah, then it's all the extended stuff, all the merchandise, books, publishing, so on and so forth, and magazines, comics,
so
T-shirts.
At what stage were you consulted, or as somebody had an idea? Hey, we want to do product XYZ. We'd love to have this. Were you at that stage, or did you come in later on, look this over, make sure it's okay?
Yeah. So I come in later on. So I don't work on the commercial side. I work on the TV show. So those commercial deals will have been decided already.
Sure.
And by the time it comes to me, it's to check that it is true to Doctor Who in whatever form, and that could be something like just checking the character likeness is good, or for example on a T-shirt design that it feels that it's part of the Doctor Who brand itself.
Right. And a friend of mine did that for Marvel's a long time ago, and he was let go because he vetoed a web shooting Spider-Man figure, but he said, but they're having it shoot out of his eyes. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Exactly. It's those things like that to make sure it works and stuff. Yeah. And also you've got to think of the fans. You don't want the fans to... there are fans out there that will buy anything that's got the Doctor Who logo on it, which I understand completely, but you want to make sure what they're getting is good quality stuff and representative of Doctor Who. So.
Pretty much. I mean, it's a dual-end thing. You want to look out for the fans' interests, and you also want to look out for, obviously, the brand itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Under your stewardship. So.
Yeah.
And you are a musician.
Yeah, on the side.
On the side.
The job is so intense, and I love it, but you need to have something to escape to that's completely not Doctor Who. So, yeah, in a personal capacity, I haven't had much commercial success. I don't know if I ever will do, but it's good fun. It's nice to have a good creative outlet.
What's your style like?
Oh, pop. Hardcore pop. But, I'm inspired by all those 80s bands like Depeche Mode and Human League and so on and stuff. So that's my style.
If you're allowed to talk about this, what's probably the craziest thing you had to shoot down? Or at least had to say, we may have to reassess that?
That's a really interesting question. I've seen some things that I've not been entirely happy with, where they've done what I call brand slapping, which is just to put the logo onto something.
Right.
I think I saw some Doctor Who barbecue tongs once, and that just felt That just didn't feel quite right, because what's Doctor Who about barbecue tongs? You can see something like, for example, that I've seen garden sheds that are in the shape of the TARDIS. Now that feels right, because that feels like a Doctor Who fan would really want that. And,
yes.
That makes sense. But barbecue tongs, I'm not so sure about. So there are two things. First of all, the quality has to be good, but secondly, as you have suggested there, it needs to be something that feels true to Doctor Who.
Are you also sort of a quality control of the product itself? I mean, is it like, okay, it's one thing if it falls in line with the character, but did you have authority to kind of judge on, hey, look, these tongs, they're made of like cheap tin, they're going to break, they're going to rust. I mean,
to an extent, because of the way the BBC works, all the produce is ethically sourced. All these things get looked into beforehand, so we're quite confident when it comes to us that whatever they're making is safe, is good quality, and so on and so forth. If I have any concerns, then I'll raise them at that point, but generally it doesn't come to me in that state.
What's something that was brought to your attention that made you go, wow?
That it was good?
Yeah, something that you just never would have expected, but when you saw it, you're like, that's actually a really good fit.
Yeah, probably. I'm just trying to think what that is now. Something that came to me that I didn't think was a very good idea, but has turned out to be brilliant, is the Mr. Men books. Are you familiar with Mr. Men? So, Mr. Men is a series of books that...
Yes,
that originated...
Yes, the sort of the kind of weird, deformed sort of character.
That's right. So that originated in the UK in the 1970s.
Yes.
And a couple of years ago, I was told they wanted to do Doctor Who Mr. Men books. Somebody's holding out a banner with some pictures of them there. And I just didn't think that was going to work. Because Mr. Men is a very specific style, and Doctor Who is a very specific style, and getting those two to work, I didn't think was going to be pulled off very well at all. So we worked very hard on them. I'm pleased to say that people behind Mr. Men, Adam Hargreaves in particular, were just brilliant, completely got Doctor Who, completely got how to make it work, and I'm very, very proud of it. I think it's one of the best things we've done. So it's always interesting when you get two brands mixing together. It sometimes doesn't work, but in this case it really did.
Very good. And how'd you fall into this unique career?
By being a big Doctor Who fan, by having lots of experience in lots of things. Because this job...
Hear that, kids? Fandom? There are jobs for fandom.
Absolutely, but you know what? You have to have that eye on fandom, which makes you not stick to one specific era too much. We've all got our favourite episodes, our favourite eras in Doctor Who, but when you're doing what I'm doing, you have to love all of it and you have to represent all of it. Because I've seen things come forward where they put a picture of all the Doctors together, and I don't know, Sylvester McCoy is the smallest in the background because that person doesn't particularly like Sylvester McCoy, and that's really unfair because he's somebody's favourite Doctor Who. He's many people's favourite Doctor. So you've got to make sure everything is represented equally.
Just once, I would love to see somebody, and I've thrown this challenge out to comic book artists when they do like their jams and stuff. I don't want to see them standing around. I want to see an action shot.
Yeah,
with
all of them together. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I've yet to see that.
It's difficult when you've got 12 now, 13, or even 14 characters to do that. But that's a great challenge. Let's hope someone can do that.
Well, indeed, with that. Well, thank you so much for spending this time for us, boss. We do appreciate it. What social media outlets can we follow you on?
You can follow me on Twitter. It's just at Edward Russell. RUSSELL.
Indeed. So, well, thank you very much for joining us this time here. Our thanks to Long Island Who for facilitating this meeting. And, boss, have a great weekend.
And you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. And now we got more interviews for you. Affirmative, Master. We have many interviews. That was a bad canine, wasn't it?
No, I had flashbacks of Eddie there for a second.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a good canine coming up. We have John Leeson, straight from the floor of Elihu.
Hi there, Patty Hawkins here on special assignment with Mark Who 42 at Long Island Who, and I am joined here for the next few minutes with canine voiceover actor and political gadfly, Mr. John Leeson.
Political gadfly, incorrect. But yes, I'm John Leeson. Hi.
Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Gadfly may have been a misnomer.
Well, I've sort of stood for local elections years back in a sort of liberal democratic position, which made no headway whatsoever. There we are.
Can you recall your first American convention experience?
Yes, I can, because the first American convention experience, which was in Philadelphia, I flunked. I lost in a contest for canine sound-alike competition. Shall I tell you the story?
Please.
Of course, the very first appearance in the States, nobody knew what I looked like. This is fine, so I'll capitalise on that. Thank you. I go to the showrunner and I say, look, tell you what, John Leeson is supposed to be arriving at 4 o'clock in the main hall. Here we are at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'll dress up, if I may, as a fan, and I'll have a long scarf and badges and this, that, and the other, and I'll just mosey round with the other fans and be happy, you know. And coming up to 4 o'clock, I'll sit in the main hall where I'm supposed to be arriving, and you arrange and say, look, you tell the fans that I'm delayed coming from the airport, so until I get here, have a canine sound-alike contest. Get people up from the audience and get them to do a little line of canine, send them back to their seat again, get somebody else up. I was up 4th or 5th. Who are you? Oh, my name's George. Okay, where are you from, George? I'm from Pittsburgh. Big laugh. Apparently, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you know, whatever. And then, what are you going to do for us? So I did the little line of canine. Thank you, George. Okay, back to your seat. Next one. And about 6 or 7 of us are lined up at the end. Says, because he's just heard John Leeson's back from the airport and he's ready. So, everybody up on stage, hand over head, which one is the best one? And the little guy down the line won. He got the most applause. But the spell hadn't been broken.
Right.
All back to your seats, guys. All back to your seats. John Leeson, now, will you please welcome John Leeson? Everybody turns to the back of the hall, and I just get up from my seat, and I get the biggest reception I've ever got in my life.
That's absolutely wonderful. I recently just did the same thing with Peter Capaldi. I called all the Peter Capaldi cosplayers up to the stage. I arranged ahead of time with him. I had him sneak in. We didn't do a contest, but it was a whole line, and then I just sort of brought him to the forefront, and it was 1, 2, and then a penny dropped in the audience, and then pow.
Yeah, absolutely. What pandemonium.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
But that's really the best pop of my career, and Peter loved it.
Yeah.
He really had a great time. Good. Absolutely, too. Is there something, quality you think is unique among American fans compared to UK fans, Australia?
Enthusiasm, I think. In a sense, the fans at home get us sort of little and often and all the time. We're sort of part of the furniture. Now, I've just been over to Germany doing a convention over there, Time Lash 3, which was absolutely astonishing because their exposure to Doctor Who is nothing like our exposure in the UK. And so
I assume they watch it subtitled?
They do. That's why.
That's why you would be there.
That's why we're there.
I was like, you especially.
But their English is phenomenal.
Sure.
I mean, we were playing, as it were, a live English audience, at speed.
Yeah.
And they were getting everything.
Great.
So that was wonderful. But no, American conventions. No, I think generally speaking, you know how to welcome people over here. My goodness, you do. And we're very lucky to be here. At least I am, considering that I'm just a voice.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Not just any voice.
Well,
you didn't silver-faced. Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, curious enough, Invisible Enemy was, I think, the second story I ever saw. And,
really?
And at the end, take K9 with you. I was like, yes. But I also felt like I was watching something kind of special. Like, wow, this is ongoing. Too.
Yeah.
And
well, I think they did tweak the script. They left the it was open-ended, I should say, because they weren't certain whether K9 was worth keeping on or not. They'd spent money, obviously, building K9.
Sure.
And perhaps it was introduced by Graham Williams as a means of getting a younger audience attracted to watching Doctor Who. But now I go to conventions left, right and centre, particularly in this 40th anniversary year.
Let's get the kids into the show by putting a robot dog that shoots people.
Yep, that's right, absolutely. But kids come past where I'm signing and they don't know me from Adam. They haven't a clue who I am. But if I just do a little
Hello, welcome.
Or something like that. They are immediately transfixed. Absolutely stunned. Where did that voice come from? And then, of course, parents come up and say, "You were part of my childhood. Do you remember that?"
Yeah.
You know, and I think, good God, I'm part of somebody's childhood, aren't you? How embarrassing. But yes.
Well, then you were part of my adolescence. How's that?
Ooh, that's much better.
Right.
Much better.
I'm an American, so I was a little older.
No, indeed. No, it's good to be here.
So what's in your future?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Who knows? You see, if you're a freelance actor, you simply don't know at all.
Oh, I know.
But I have yet more Doctor Who things to do. I'm going to be reading a novelisation of The Invisible Enemy. Recording that in a week or two's time. There is this film, Canine Timequake, which is not a BBC franchise, but
yes.
It looks as if it's going to be in production sometime next year with a bit of luck. I think they've got some funds behind them.
I know that was being floated. But
it's been floated for a long time.
Yeah, I wanted you to bring that up. I didn't want to.
No, sure. I mean,
so when's Canine going to fight Sutek? You know.
I'm the last to know.
Yes.
I promise you that. They'll probably make it and finish it and then think, oh, we haven't put a voice on yet. Let's phone John.
Right.
You know, and then I'll know it's actually happening.
I've sat down in front of Dr. Who audiences and I've had to explain well, you know, the nation state they lease the Daleks to it, and K9 is owned, you know, and basically leased out, and etc. And that puts you in a curious position.
It was wonderful because had K9 been sent out on a desperate mission and have been blown to smithereens, which is one of my favourite English words, then obviously K9 would have finished. But the fact that he was loaned to people, and, was wonderful. So he did have a continuing existence. And then, of course, with Big Finish in audio, I have a shelf full of things I've done. Some very good writers, some super scripts to work to. So
I should know the answer to this, but I'll ask you anyway.
Yeah.
Have you done an audio story yet where the canines met each other?
Insufficient information. I don't honestly remember.
Then I'll pitch it. Are you on any social media outlets that people can follow you on?
Not really, no. I'm very private as a person, really. So
that's absolutely fine.
That's how I keep things, really.
What does Google you?
I wear other sort of hats as well. So I do other professional things.
Of course.
Like teaching, wine education, things like that.
Really?
I spent 26 years of my life as a lay magistrate. And I've done all sorts of extraordinary things in my life. But you've just got to have to read Tweaking the Tail, which is my autobiography, published by Phantom Films.
You heard that, folks. Tweaking the Tail. Excellent. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for spending this time, and thank you for the memories.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Patty.
Our next interview is someone, and Trish, I think you were involved in this interview. We had Katy Manning on our show a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, didn't we?
You did. I was not actually a part of it.
But Ed was.
No.
Ed was.
Yeah,
that's right.
Ed was.
So this is kind of a homecoming for a friar, even though you weren't there. A friar was there. So we now have Patty Hawkins from Li Who talking to Joe Grant, Nay Jones. It's Katy Manning.
Because I have all your action figures, and I would have a frag auction.
Absolutely.
Who wouldn't
and I
want
can
that?
just sit around in your pocket.
That's right.
I like that.
And I can play with you.
Ooh.
All right, before we get into trouble, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Patty Hawkins here with Mark Who 42, and we have a returning guest, courtesy of Long Island, who I am joined by the eternally lovely Katy Manning.
Hello, gorgeous man. How are you?
I'm good.
We've had a lovely hug, and we had a dance, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We just had a little bit of a dance.
I think we're getting ready for Strictly, you and I.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean? Little spray tan, a few sequins. I think we're ready to go.
I think we are. I think we're set for the Riviera.
But just remember, no double dipping.
Right. Okay. it's not. I'm a performer, but dance was never my forte.
I'll help you through.
Oh, that's not a promise. We'll be here for 3 days. I'll hold you up to it. Okay. How have you been?
You have to hold me up.
No problem. How have you been?
Terrific.
We spoke about a year and a half ago. We went over all the boilerplate stuff.
Did we? We done that?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
What was John like? What was it? Yeah. Okay. What have you been up to the past year or so?
And what have I been up to the past year? Well, I'm going to be doing I've been working on it. I actually recorded it, a play I wrote when I was living in LA.
Yeah.
What do you do in LA? Everybody's making movies. You write a play. It's the sort of woman I am. I am the rebel. And it also kept me sane.
Right.
And it was called Not a Well Woman. And I recorded it. I did it a couple of times on stage.
Yeah.
I just have to say I played 26 people in it.
That's only a one-woman show.
Yeah.
Great.
Nobody else will work with me. And it'd be very expensive to have a cast that size. It's why I do a lot of audios where I'm playing everybody. It's cheap.
Sure. Yes.
Anyway, so that, and I put it away in a cupboard, and long story short, put it out, and I just rang Big Finish, and I said, listen, I've written a play, and, so they came over, and I dropped the script on the floor after about 13 pages, and said, we want to do it. So I recorded it for that, and anyway, then I let go, because to me it was finished business. Anyway, now I'm going to be putting it back on stage, probably the last thing I've ever done in my life. And because a particular big producer wanted to do it, and and I was thinking, is he nuts? But he's not. I am. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing that, so I've been working on that. I've been doing, obviously I've been doing more audios where I'm playing Joe Jones. Mm-hmm. So I've been working with the new unit family.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. I'm now also doing young Joe. I go from, very old Joe to young Joe. Working with Tim Treloar, who's doing the most incredible job of John Pertwee. And working very closely together so that every nuance is there. I mean, I was saying someone the other day.
So you guys are recording at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
And he is absolutely... Oh, yeah, I stay right there with him because John was,
Yeah.
We were inseparable, and I know every little tiny movement and every little blink from John. And Tim is such an extraordinary actor. So those are doing really, really well. Very, very happy about those. And obviously I'm going to do an Iris Wildtime on the radio because they've suddenly realised that, yes, we have the wonderful Jodie coming in, but Iris has been dragging her sorry ass around this planet with the help of a few drinks for about 16 or 17 years, written by Paul Mars.
Wow.
So I'm going to be doing that. And I've just done a short film playing a very damaged woman. I'm very good at damaged women. Oh gosh, so much is going on. What else have I been doing? And I've done other audios. I've done a Torchwood, where I play this wonderful, horrible woman who, she's come from looking for another planet to live on because she actually ate all of those people on her own planet, including her own children, who sadly needed salt. Oh. Just sort of throw that. So I truly, really, constantly in life, as a working actress, is very, very diverse.
Yes.
Which I love. And I did what else? I played another character on a television show who was infected with Lyme's disease, which is a really nasty illness, but because she used to run around a field naked every morning, and with the deer she got... I'm not making light of that, but it's no. You just sort of put that into your day, and it's all kind of wacky, really, isn't it?
When are you going to play Mame?
Better be soon, sweetie.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's going to be a very still Mame.
Never too late. So I'm fascinated.
Oh, and I've become a grandma too.
Oh.
Unlike Joe Jones, I don't have 13 grandchildren. I just have the one.
One, right.
Which is...
You spoil that kid rotten, don't you?
Well, let's put it this way. Once I'd accepted the fact that it didn't have 4 paws and a wet nose, I accepted it into the fold.
All right.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Much to the jealousy of your own child.
No, I had twins, darling. I had to to somehow show them both everything that they needed at exactly the same time. You know, I became the mother that learned to make a cake that everything had to have 2 eggs in it.
My goddaughters are twins, so
you know what I mean. And
yes.
they always both want you at exactly the same time, and they want, So yeah, boy and a girl. Who it's actually, now I was saying something the other day, it's like I've given birth to my parents. You know, you realise that you're a mummy for a long time, and then suddenly I'm the kid.
Yeah.
You know, I am not the sensible one. I am one that they worry about and phone up and say, where are you? Where have you been? What are you doing? Like I'm going to tell you.
Are you off on one of those convention things again?
I don't think they even know that I do. Do you know my children have never watched Doctor Who?
I believe it.
They came to a convention once and were absolutely traumatised by the fact that everybody was sort of wanting to say hello to their mummy. And got very angry at school when the maths teacher said, "Oh, I just love your mother." The last thing you want to hear at school from your maths teacher is that it doesn't go down well, right?
Well, we always love saying hello to you, and unfortunately...
And goodbye is one of your more favourite moments, is it?
Never with you, young lady. Never with you. So, our thanks to Long Island...
I can dance with you all weekend, my sweet.
And so you shall.
Thank you so much. It's really lovely to see you.
It's always good
and
to
for
see
those who can't see you, you have the best haircut.
Oh, thank you.
And it feels so soft. I just thought this is a little bit of explain what's happening on the radio.
And I cut it myself.
And you did, and we both admitted that we both cut our own hair.
I know, this is a breakthrough, isn't it?
The only difference is my hair looks like Phyllis Diller's on crack, and yours looks really neat and tidy.
You are lovely and effervescent, and stop with this self-effacing nonsense. It ill becomes you.
Self-effacing is funny.
That's true. And we're all about the laughs at the end of the day. Katy Manning, Marco42, and you're on Twitter and all that fun stuff.
Twitter.
Yes.
Right, but remember, my Twitter is for love and laughter.
Right.
All of the other stuff you can have, but Twitter, keep it nice.
As this has been nice. Thank you once again for joining us, Katy. Come back to Marco42 anytime. You are always welcome.
Thank you.
What do you guys think about the Ice Warriors in Empress of Mars last season?
Pretty cool. They're pretty badass.
Yeah. Well, do you remember Friday, the one that was working for the British soldiers?
Yes.
The one that was actually using them. Well, we have that man right now, Richard Ashton, the actor who played Friday, here on Marco42 from Li Who.
Hello there, Patty Hawkins here with Marco42. I am joined today by way of Long Island Who with the very, very tall Richard Ashton, who, of course, he looks even taller compared to my minuscule form.
Not at all.
How are you today? Well, we're sitting down. So.
I'm very good. We're sitting down and we're all the same.
Oh, don't worry. We'll take a picture of you standing up. We'll see the difference. So, all right. Hey, welcome to America.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, indeed. So, a very, very important role as Ice Warrior Friday.
It is, and I'm delighted to have been asked to do it. I haven't done a biomechanical creature for about 20-odd years, since The Fifth Element.
Yes.
When they started to talk about Ice Warriors in Season 10, my ears pricked up immediately. Bernard Bresslaw, massive hero of mine, 6'7", fantastic actor. Some would say limited by his size to the things he could do. If it was good enough for Bernard, it's certainly good enough for me.
I'm actually a huge fan of Bernard.
Isn't he amazing?
Yeah,
Did you ever see him on stage?
No.
Man, superb.
Yeah.
His bottom was incredible.
He did bottom? Oh my God. He would have been amazing as that. Yeah.
And, super. Really brilliant. So, and Friday, well, it's that classic thing. The monster who isn't a monster, or is he? And I love the fact that the way the episode flips around, they retain their dignity and their immense power, but this idea they have this capacity for a beautiful piece of writing.
In all of Who canon, I think the Ice Warriors have survived the most intact from the transition from old to new. There have been criticisms on some of the other races, but they kept the Ice Warriors pretty much on point in the sense that they were never evil, they were adversarial, and in the Pertwee years, they were kind of the SAS of the Galactic Federation.
Exactly. Send the boys in.
Pretty much. Yeah, and we saw the beginnings of that in that episode, and
Well, that was the greatest thrill obviously the script developed even from the first time I read it, and then the read-through into what it became, because they were playing around with a denouement, how the Empress figures in the end. But right the way through, this idea of Friday being on a mission, but it's his mission. It's their mission.
Yes.
It wasn't for a while until I realised, hang on, this then technically, in time terms, if we can say time, this is the first time we see them. Because it predates everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right. Even though, of course, the Doctor knows.
Yes.
Because in that wonderful way...
We can say that this is the first time humanity encounters them.
That's right.
Yeah. We can say that. The Victorian era. But this is all Big Finish territory.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great. No, you tell them. Yeah, I'll be there.
Absolutely. Is this your first American convention?
It is. This is my first American convention. Absolutely.
Have you done UK appearances?
I have done one. Well, two, actually. One for a smaller group in Chiswick, and I also went to Chester Comic Con, which isn't quite the same. I haven't done these, and 20 years ago I was asked if I would through other shows.
Sure.
And didn't really understand. I mean, it was Alison Arngrim from Little House on the Prairie that first said to me, "You do understand this world exists, Richard?" And I don't know. So I was living in LA at that time, and I'd been doing Robin Hood for Warner Brothers, The Adventures of Robin Hood. And there was a sort of Ren Fair crossover into the world of Comic-Con slowly happening. And to be honest, it wasn't any sort of snobbery. It was simply, I had no idea what it was.
Right.
And to someone like me, who's brought up very much in the working theatre, very much working television, I didn't quite understand how it worked.
Yeah.
And I'd never been to one. If I'd ever been to one, perhaps I would have understood what a great celebration it is, and I would have got on board a lot earlier. But it was Friday that was giving me the opportunity to be here.
Sure. Sure, I got that.
So the other shows were
So if you had a time machine, go back in time and say, hey, look, cash in on Little John.
Well, you know what? It wasn't so much cash in. It was how to reach out to the fans and celebrate with them. And the internet was quite new then. Social media hadn't really happened. Yeah, exactly. Dial-up, baby. People were starting fan sites, and I was trying to sort of, cooperate with those.
Sure.
But really, it is like shouting in the wind, particularly in the early days of IT. So somebody would set up a forum, and you might offer yourself to a bit of chat or something. If you're going to send them anything in those days, you had to send it hard copy. There wasn't emailing of photos was something out of the movies. So I would have got involved, very much so. And also, because now we discover, go all the way back to Star Trek original, and it was the fans that saved the show.
Yep.
100%. And we've had several cases of that recently, of much-loved shows where the network or the producers or whoever have let it go, and everyone's gone, are you kidding? And now, of course, with digital formats and with other producers, other people have picked things up. I mean, there's a well-known show that's done that and come back to the BBC when they realise what they'd thrown away. You go, So it would have been lovely to get involved, particularly with the Warner Brothers international crowd. This was a big fan base for that show. And it's interesting now if I get anything from any of the others. But Doctor Who has completely taken me by surprise. Completely.
I find it so weird, because I would have thought just about anybody now would be like, oh, you got on Doctor Who. Well, you're good in the convention circuit for at least 3-4 years. As an American fan, welcome to American Doctor Who fandom.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your stay. Oh, what social media outlets do you have?
Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. Instagram I'm finding out about. But I'm on most of those, yes.
I used to consider Instagram to be the Twitter for illiterate, but now I think I prefer it. I like the pictures and the less pontification.
I think that's right.
I'd rather look at somebody's hamburger than hear their political views.
Or if you see an image that absolutely captures what you're feeling that day or what you've seen, or just some interesting juxtaposition, it's like the fault with all bad art. Someone has to tell you what it is.
Yep.
On Instagram, you don't. Send the picture, and if the picture doesn't say it, then you've clearly chosen the wrong picture. Some people are super clever at that, and that's what I find exciting. If I see a thread where I think, oh, this person's got it. I mean, I hate words like zeitgeist and all that sort of stuff, but actually, that's on it.
Pretty much.
I saw a cow on a pier once painted as Superman, and for some reason that was my image of the summer. And anybody listening who's seen it will know exactly the image I'm talking about. And you go, yep, that's what Instagram does brilliantly.
Congeeing on that. All right, then, boss, enjoy your weekend. And I've been sitting here with Richard Ashton. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and our thanks to Long Island Who.
Great pleasure.
And now one of my most favorite guests comes back to Mark Who 42. I interviewed him from a convention several years ago, and now Patty Hawkins gets to talk to him just for a few minutes. At Li Who, Mr. Sylvester McCoy with Patty Hawkins.
Mr. Sylvester McCoy, thanks for joining us again, sir.
My pleasure. Good morning.
How are you?
A bit dazed and tired. I was filming Sense8 in Berlin. Not yesterday, but the day before. I got the last plane out of Berlin to London that night, went home, changed suitcases, and flew out here today. So I'm a bit jet-lagged, a bit tired as well, because I was running up and down stairs all day, being chased by people with guns trying to kill me.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen here at Long Island Who.
Yeah, well, it should be safe out here.
What are you working on with Sense8? Are you allowed to talk about that yet, or...?
Well, no, I'm just in it. I was in the second series of Sense8, and only in 2 episodes, and my character comes back. That's all I can say.
That's all you need to say. Do you recall the first American convention you came to, what that experience was like?
I do, quite clearly. I was offered the job of Doctor Who on a Monday. On a Thursday, they flew me to Atlanta, Georgia, to a convention. We didn't have conventions in England much. The only thing I knew about conventions was I'd seen a Laurel and Hardy film called Sons of the Desert, and the Sons of the Desert they went to a convention. And in the story, they tell their wives that they won't let them go to conventions because they know how misbehaved they get, drunk and run after and chase women and do things, and so they're not allowed to go. So they invent a story that they've been invited to go on a cruise, and off they go on the cruise, and as luck would have it, the cruise ship sank. So the wives think they've lost their husbands, and they're quite, I think they're not too unhappy about it, but they go to the cinema, and on the news is film of the Sons of the Desert convention, and they're Laurel and Hardy. And that was my knowledge of conventions.
Right.
And they wear fezzes in the Sons of the Desert.
And they still do.
I know, that's what I'm about to say, is now, all these years later, I'm going to Sons of the Desert conventions because everyone's got a fez on. That was all my knowledge of conventions. I arrived in Atlanta. It was a heat wave in Atlanta. There were tall men dressed as Tom Baker. Big wigs, big hats, huge scarves, really thick woolen coats, and in a heat wave. And I thought, these people are mad. But the women were much wiser. They were dressed as Leela, which is just bits of chamois leather.
Yeah.
And only they were rather... what's the delicate way of putting it? Michelin ladies, shaped,
Yes.
And this was my introduction to a convention. And after we did it, the producer, John Nathan Turner, said to me, he said, you've taken to this like a duck to water. I loved it. I just loved them. I've been doing them ever since.
Wow, so you did an American convention before a UK appearance.
Oh, yeah, and then even I mucked that one up. Because I was making Doctor Who by then, I was making it, and it was all quite busy. And I'd been to a couple of conventions in America because there was a tour going around. The BBC had done a big Pantechnicon tour of the PBS stations, and they invited the doctors to go and visit.
Sure.
So I'd been to America quite a lot, but I hadn't done any in Britain. I thought, could I do one? And this letter arrived, and it was Planet 543 or something like that. I thought, I'll do it. So I wrote back and said, I'll do it. And then another one arrived. It was Liverpool Doctor Who fan club. Oh, I can't do it. It's on the same day. So I said, sorry, I can't do that. Anyway, off I go to the first one. It turns out it's not a Doctor Who convention. It's a Star Trek convention. I'd accepted the wrong bleeping convention. And I was, oh my God, I can't turn down the Doctor Who one to go to a Star Trek one. Oh, I blew it. Anyway, that was my first Doctor Who convention.
I guarantee you made some Doctor Who fans out of those Star Trek fans.
Well, yes, no, we got on really well. They did, yes. Well, I mean, I've got all the attributes. Dr. McCoy, Scotty, it's all there. I could play all those parts. No, I became a great fan of Star Trek. In fact, I became a great fan of a rock. Because if you watch it carefully, there's the same rock appears in different planets, different colours. They paint it yellow or red or blue. And I used to write fan mails to this rock. But it never answered. It's Heart of Stone. I don't know what it is anyway.
You should start a fan page.
Yes, the rock on the far side of planet something or other.
So what have you got coming up in the future?
I've got there's a horror film coming out in December called Slumber with Maggie Q.
Okay.
She and I made that. That's coming out. Because Sense8 will be coming out next year. don't know what else is in the things just pop up. Really, you never know. Too
Yeah.
far ahead.
Yeah. Well, we always look forward to seeing what you got going on, and as always, we can follow you on all the social media outlets, all that fun stuff.
Oh, good, because I have no idea what's going on. I have to ask people who follow social media what I'm doing. I don't even know how to get on it. I'm happy to say.
That's not a bad thing. Sylvester McCoy, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this, boss. And you have a great weekend here. And thanks to Long Island Who for giving us this few minutes with him.
The first name starts with a W, so we saved him for last. But he isn't the last. He's the first director ever on Doctor Who. It's Warris Hussein, who directed An Unearthly Child, and he appeared by another actor in the docudrama Adventures in Space and Time. But here's the man himself, Warris Hussein, with Patty Hawkins at Li Who.
Hi, Patty Hawkins here with Mark Who 42, and I am joined by Warris Hussein, director of the CBS movie The Henderson Monster, which we're going to talk about for the next several minutes.
Right.
Actually, I wish we could spend. Actually, we'll get to that at the end. He also directed Unearthly Child and Marco Polo and some other incredibly important Doctor Who things that none of us would be here without. So, first of all, thank you so much for your contributions to this.
You're welcome.
Really?
I was very happy to get it because at the time I was the most junior contract person at the BBC, and being junior and also the first Indian born in a very British establishment.
Yes.
I was waiting to be offered something. I was not even sure why they put me under contract, to be honest, because I'd got nothing substantial to work on. And you may well know, I was not the first director to be offered this.
Yes.
He walked off it because he did not have any belief in this. And I was so hungry to prove myself that I jumped. And I said, let me get it. So it was a gamble. You know, who knows what's going to happen with this thing. So we threw the dice, and it came up sixes.
Yep.
Not that we knew at the time.
Yes.
As we all well know, it was threatened. It almost didn't happen. And as that movie they made, Adventure in Space and Time, told you that story about it not almost happening.
When the Adventure in Space and Time began to generate some heat, at what point did you hear about it? And you think, is someone going to play me?
I knew it was going to happen. In fact, I was very anxious that they'd done a television show about the making of a series called Coronation Street.
Yes.
And that's a hugely popular soap. Well, the making of that was an examination of boardroom discussions. It wasn't a narrative about a personal approach to it, which is what Mark Gatiss gave it, which was to do with, he did very skillfully focusing on the character William Hartnell. So I knew they were going to do it. And when they did that, they asked me to come and talk to them. And Mark and I had a long series of discussions. And I put him into the picture as I then knew it. And a lot of that's in the show. Because some of the detailing, although he had amazing knowledge, the details needed to be sorted out. That's what I provided. And of course, I had to be in it because what else can you do? So I knew there was going to be someone playing me, and I finally met Sacha Dhawan, who was going to play me. And he's from the north. He comes from Manchester, and his accent is totally different to mine.
Yes.
And he taped me, and he said, I said, listen to me, listen to the way I speak. And he did, and he did it brilliantly. I thought he did very well.
It was a wonderful piece. It was a great job across the board, and I think very important too. It put you and Verity. It really brought to light what a lot of us hardcore fans had already known. I mean, especially on the American side. I mean, the early stuff was a bit of a mystery, and we would see the name. Literally, you'd see your name and be like,
"Who is this guy?"
Yeah, and it would be a head turn.
I mean, look. Let's face it, it was an unusual, it still is an unusual name to go on the screen. So, one has to be realistic about these things. And for a long time, I used to have people contacting me, not quite knowing how to approach me, saying, "Are you an Indian? Are you an Arab? Where are you from?" sort of thing. And I had to
give them my credentials. So, no, it put me on the map. This show is what caused me to do what I've done since. You know, so Doctor Who is a lot to answer for.
And you've and it should be mentioned too. Yeah, you've had a career. I mean,
Yes.
you did a lot of stalwart work in television, international film stuff this week. I mentioned the Henderson Monster because I remember seeing that when it came on, getting halfway through it, and my parents sent me to bed. To this day, I've never seen the second hour of it.
Oh my gosh! Really?
And I don't think it's available.
Did they send you to bed because they didn't approve of it?
No,
or
it was just
it was too late?
It was just my bedtime.
Oh, well, okay. Well, let me tell you something about that because it's a very important piece. It has something to say, and in those days,
and then, this was before genetic engineering had really become the prevalence it had now.
Movies for television. In those days, they don't do it anymore, and they don't make them anymore. But it was a serious project, a serious subject. It was about a scientist who was deeply conscious of having been a part of the experiment, the whole business of creating a bomb, and the effect it's had on society since. But it was integrated with a whole lot of... I'm very proud of it, and it's a great shame it doesn't seem to exist anywhere. I have a copy, which
we'll talk later.
Yeah. No, I remember it had a wonderful cast.
You got a brilliant cast.
It had Christine Lahti. It had Neiman Pershoff, the man who played the professor.
Well, you had the other actor in there who's gotten himself in a little trouble. We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
What's looming on your future right now? Have you got what do you got?
Well,
going on?
believe it or not, I refuse to give up. I was complaining about ageism in the industry, and everyone thinks I should either be gone forever or staring at walls, and I'm not. I'm still pursuing a career.
I'd like to see someone tell Clint Eastwood to stop directing.
Well, Clint Eastwood is going on, and Martin Scorsese, Spielberg, they're still doing it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you've got to get yourself onto that A-list, otherwise they don't believe in you. I've created my own work, and I've got a script that is almost financed. We have to cast it. It's not an easy thing to do, but I'm working on it.
Great.
Meanwhile, I teach. I go to, while I'm here, I teach in film students in San Francisco at the Academy of Art, in the art of working in front of the camera. How to act in front of the camera with all the ingredients that are available. We have sets, we have crews, and we do scenes, and we shoot them exactly like a film.
Excellent.
And they have to learn through their mistakes, and as I do. I emphasize we're not making an Oscar-winning movie, but we do scenes from certain films that have won Oscars, and I get students to do them, and some of them have never even heard of the subject until I throw it to them. I said, "Do you know The Crucible by Arthur Miller?" "No." "Well, we're going to do a scene from it."
When was that made?
When was it made? We're going to do a scene from All About Eve. Albeit we don't have George Sanders playing Addison DeWitt, but the scene is very powerful because it's between two people, an ambitious young actress and a cynical person dealing with her ambitions. So we don't have enough Addison DeWitts in our class, but change it to Alison DeWitt and make it into a woman.
Sure.
So we have two women having a conflicting scene. And then we do it. I do a scene from Casablanca. All right, you're not Humphrey Bogart, you're not Ingrid Bergman, but it's a scene about a man who refuses to give up some papers that his ex-lover saying, "Give me the papers to rescue my husband from a certain death," and he says no. So we did that scene. And it's to do with conflict.
Yeah.
So you don't have to emulate the originals.
No.
But you play the tension of the scene.
You play the tension.
Within the limits of age. These are 20-something years old people. Oldest one, I think, is 25. So they're not mature enough to experience some of the emotions that the originals had.
Yes.
But play the concern, play the conflict.
Do you show the originals?
No.
Before good.
What I say, do not. They go rushing off to. Do not look on YouTube. Learn. I give them a script. Learn the lines. Do the scene with me.
Make a
then
choice.
Go and watch it. Go and see the original afterwards. But do not watch it beforehand.
That's a fascinating exercise.
A lot of them never heard of James Dean. I said, I grew up, I was one of the millions of fans. So I said, we're going to do the scene between him and Julie Harris. And so, they're stuck on the wheel. And, two people in a state of emotional conflict. So a man and a woman you don't have to be on a wheel. You sit in a chair and talk to each other about emotions. That's how I direct.
That's a very good way. As someone who's been on that side of the camera and has been directed, I feel well, and directed extremely poorly, I appreciate your approach. And I also appreciate, too, the fact of because there is a loss of training and so much is still focused on theatricals, which is fine, but there's a difference, and you know this, about switching over. And
the camera is much more intimate, and you have got to scale it all down, and everything you're doing will either show your line or not. You've got to get to a certain kind of truth. Now, I'm not saying that it's always achieved. There's scenes that I now put together, and I look at them because we always examine the scenes once we put them together. And I say, oh, you know what, guys? That didn't work. Do you see what's happening there? We should have done a little bit more there.
Absolutely.
But that's the learning process.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for spending this time with us. Our thanks to Long Island Who. And again, thank you for your contributions to Doctor Who, to cinema, and to getting these kids to understand a little bit of the history of the medium that they're coming into.
Exactly. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. You have a great weekend. And our thanks again to Long Island Who.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed those interviews. What do you guys think?
Riveting.
And Patty did a great job. Thank you. And I want to give credit to L.I. Who. L.I. Who is the preeminent Doctor Who convention that's held in New York every year. You can go to longislanddoctorwho.com for more information about the next one, because right now they still have the old L.I. Who 5 listed, but supposedly in the next couple of weeks they're going to update the site and they'll be ready for next year, so check them out. And we will be right back with more of Mark Who 42 after this.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Jamie Engel is an award-winning author of science fiction and horror novels and stories. The Toilet Papers, a book that she wrote, is a collection of short stories ranging from 50 words to more than 5,000 to match your bathroom needs. But here are some other facts that you may not know about her. She cosplays Marty McFly Jr., Wonder Woman, Garth from Wayne's World, and Trinity from The Matrix. She speaks to kids about bullying and to authors about writing and marketing their books. She once owned a body shop, managed a hip-hop band, and danced at the Aloha Bowl halftime show. Wow, that's really cool. But without coffee, the world would end. So definitely you should read some of Jamie Engel's work, and you can if you go to her website, therighteangle.com. THEWRITEENGLE.com. And don't forget, follow her on Instagram at The Right Angle.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Briggs, the voice of many monsters on Doctor Who, and executive producer of Big Finish Productions. And I'm pleased to announce that Mark Who 42 Books have joined forces with Big Finish to bring you Big Finish Audio.
There's this fellow who calls himself the Doctor, and he says he has saved me, and we are in his time machine.
You all right? I think I've broken something. What about you?
Yes, I'm fine, thanks.
I rather think I broke your fall.
Oh, sorry.
Mark Who 42 Books will now offer to bring you the best in Big Finish audio.
But why are they here?
How do you do?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, no need to. I'm the Doctor, and this is...
I am Leela.
By all means, please do come out to play, Doctor. I'm waiting for you.
To find where Mark Who 42 Books will be, go to markwho42.net or on their Facebook site at Mark Who 42.
What are you saying? They fizzled in somehow, like the TARDIS?
Yeah, transmat from another dimension. The TARDIS doesn't fizzle. It's more of a...
Also go to markwho42.net and download my interview with the team.
You're executive producer at Big Finish Productions.
Correct.
Correct.
Is this a quiz?
Mark Who 42, taking you to the Whoniverse and beyond.
Welcome back to more of Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and we've got a very special guest with us. We've had some other guests on this show, but this one is also one of our special favorites. It's Clifford Neiman. Clifford Neiman is I guess you would be the owner of Crystal Carvings, LLC.
That is correct, Mark.
And Crystal Carvings is a great thing because they make, you make three-dimensional images of the previous the doctors of Doctor Who inside a blue TARDIS crystal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And these are really cool. And I'm hoping that we're going to have some to sell, but that's another story. Clifford, let's start. Why Doctor Who? What is your love of Doctor Who? What brought you to this stage?
I've been a nerd probably my whole life, and Doctor Who isn't my only fandom that I wanted to explore with the crystal carvings concept. But I thought that one of the things that I wanted to do was, I guess, part of the mission statement or part of the company value and core is any product I make, I want to make sure that I've never seen it before, so it's truly unique and 100% original. And I had seen sort of the laser cubed ideas before in the past. You've seen sometimes, with state capitals or butterflies or things like that. And I thought that it was so cool, but I wanted to take it to the next level. And I was at a Comic-Con and I, stumbled on the TARDIS and, I've been a casual Doctor Who fan, definitely got a lot more into it after I started working with the BBC. And I just thought, everyone always takes pictures inside and out of the TARDIS. And I said, I've never really seen a toy or collectible where you could get your favorite Doctor and also have the TARDIS as one set, or kind of like as a one toy combo. And I thought, how cool would it be if I could laser engrave my favorite Doctor inside of a TARDIS, so I could sort of forever capture an iconic pose of my favorite Doctor on a more high-end, a little bit more elegant nerd collectible. And so that was sort of where the idea started and sort of the fandom. And, it was definitely just an idea. And I had a few people that said, maybe you should try to get that idea licensed or talk to the BBC. And like most people, you think, well, there's no way. And I ended up emailing the BBC, and they are absolutely some of the most fantastic people to work with. And the first initial design was rough, really, really rough, because I had never done the licensed stuff before. And to the point where I thought there's no way that they're going to approve this idea. It's too different. It's too radical. Nobody was really seeing the vision that I was like, no, it's like they were thinking I was going to do a crystal sculpture of the Doctor or just the TARDIS. I said, no, let's put it together. Let's make one thing, and the light base would light up, and it would make everything blue, and the Doctor would be separated, and you could see all this detail. And they said, we're really not seeing it, but if you really believe it and you think that this could be a popular product, we'll get you kind of the preliminary steps, and we'll just kind of see what some of the other people internally in the UK think, because they're the ones that would sort of oversee the final creative process. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to months and months of things that I thought were so unbelievably picky. I thought, who's going to notice this? Or, this is too much. Just combination of they were hard on me because I was a new licensor, and as someone who's never worked in the licensing world before, I didn't know certain expectations. And by the time it was done, all said and finished, and every person in the UK and every person in BBC America had an approval, and we did all these different revisions and prototypes, we all sat back and looked at the final design and said, this is the coolest Doctor Who product that they've seen in a long time. And by far their most favorite high-end collectible. And from there, that's when I knew, I was like, this is going to be a great idea for the fans. And I was personally really happy that they ended up loving the idea from someone who they said originally they couldn't really see the vision too well, but by the time they got to all hold one in their hands and see how beautiful it is and the solid crystal and the marksmanship and the amount of detail that we were able to physically put inside a cube, it really changed everyone's mind. And I know it's kind of been a long question answer.
No,
but we
that's okay. You're definitely answering all the questions I had for you. Keep going.
So we actually went to Long Island Who in New York a few weeks back, and it was a small show, and we actually really like the dedicated Doctor Who shows because as a manufacturer and a licensor, this is just me personally, and also as a toy collector, I think sometimes there's toys that come out and I'm like, man, I wish I could give this guy feedback, or I wish that this collectible is so cool, but like, what if they did this? You know, and you're like, you can never talk to those guys. These guys are the big wigs up in, you know, whatever, making it in California or Florida or wherever their home base is. And part of what we're doing, as much as I can, I love to go to all the Comic-Cons and interact with the fans and just say, hey, you know, this is my idea, but, you know, you're the end buyer, you're the consumer. How could we make this product better? Or what would you like to see next? And really talk to the fans and see like, hey, instead of us just telling you what to buy, which, you know, some toy companies are like, hey, this is the product, you know, you buy it or you don't. Really interacting with the fans and saying, okay, but what have you never seen before that you wish maybe could be a collectible or a one-time exclusive? So we're in Long Island Who. We're there. We're hanging out with the fans. We're doing well. And unknown to me was one of the BBC UK creatives. So the guy from the UK had come down. He was actually one of the special guests. And he said, oh my gosh, I was on the creative team when you first pitched this idea of the Crystal TARDIS. And he says, I've never seen it in person. I never saw the final version. He picked one up and looked at it and he goes, this is breathtaking. This is amazing. And I thought, you know, the combination of, well, he's saying that to say that, and I'm glad he enjoys the product. And I find out later through the weekend, they end up doing a panel. And half of the panel is from what I've heard. They were talking about what it's like working with the BBC, and they kept using the crystal carvings as an example. Like, wow. Oh my gosh, you guys want to talk about someone who's pushed the limit, or, you know, that has gone leaps and bounds as far as expectations. These guys who are here at the show, these crystal carvings guys from Kentucky, they totally changed our mind and perspective of what a fan could make and become a licensed product. And that's probably one of the greatest feelings that I had from the BBC. That and the time that we had a meeting and they said that they were extremely proud of just how beautiful and how successful and how the fans reacted to basically treating the fans and acknowledging that their fandom stretches farther beyond a $10 or $20 action figure, that they really could enjoy a really nice, solid crystal collectible for their Doctor Who fandom and collection that would just look so much different than anything else they've ever seen.
So these crystal TARDISes are really cool. I've been to conventions that you've been at, you've advertised on our show, and they are like, with the base, you're saying about 6 inches tall. They are definitely beautiful. I love the 12th Doctor pose.
Yes.
And, you know, you've got the 10th Doctor, you've got the 11th Doctor, but not just the new Who, you've got classic Who, you've got the 1st and 2nd Doctors. Now, how did you get the images of the 1st and 2nd Doctor? Because obviously they're not alive anymore. The BBC guys there put it together or something?
Yeah, so, you know, what's so interesting to me is, you know, every day I learn more and more about how to make a collectible or what it takes to be a licensed product. So having the license for the BBC gave me the opportunity to do the TARDIS. And right. I actually didn't know that for every Doctor that we laser engraved inside or use the likeness as, we actually needed to go and get the permissions from the actor, the agents, or the estates. Mm-hmm. So after the success of the 12th Doctor, which that was really the prototype, like, hey, if people think this is cool, let's do the 11th and 10th. Yeah. BBC was actually like, well, you know, do you think that the other Doctors would do well selling to more of the classic fans? I said, I really do think they would. And they said, it's going to take a while because what we'll do is we will act on your behalf and we will come and contact the estates of the 1st and 2nd Doctor and the agents. And they were just absolutely tremendous in the help of kind of connecting me with the agents or the actors or the estate and sort of pitching them the idea against, you know, the first time you hear it, like, hey, do you want to be inside of a crystal and laser engraved? You know, some of the people were a little bit more hesitant to it, but the BBC really talked it up and showed them the product. And from there, what they did was we were able to get through the estates and through the BBC, some of their media reference guides, archived footage or, you know, certain stills or certain, not confidential, but just certain images that maybe isn't available to the public that could really get me a full inside look of how the Doctor would look and get a really nice full 3D pose. Because some of the archive images of the BBC from, I guess, rumors or what I've been told, was lost. So some of the earlier Doctors like Hartnell definitely was harder to try to capture that a classic pose and really capture all his elegance into one image. But it was a combination of the estates helping, BBC helping, and using existing product that, action figures, and just saying, okay, well, this is roughly how he might look. How could we make him better? Or using images of, off the set, or just casual images of, as an example, William Hartnell, and just saying, this is how he would look full body inside the crystal. Let's do that. And if the BBC liked it, they actually would still need the approval of the estate or the actors or agencies. And so I will say, I think Hartnell took a long time, but by the time we were done, it was the same thing. It was one of those things where the estate representing the first Doctor really wants to make sure that we do right by him and the product. And by the time they saw the final prototype or sample, they said, this is beautiful. We love it. And basically they gave us all their blessings to continue to do this with all the Doctors.
Now, you sell these online at DoctorWhoCrystals.com.
Correct.
And you also go out to conventions. That's where we've seen you. And we've talked, and we, Mark Who 42 Books, are going to go to some of the conventions and sell these too. I mean, these are beautiful, beautiful crystals. I'm going to have them hopefully at Time Lord Fest in January. I mean, that's going to be great. Now, how much do these go for?
So they retail for about $100, and they're about $120 on Amazon. And that's the extra cost is, I mean, it's about 3 pounds of solid crystal. So we definitely need to make sure that they're protected when we're shipping them. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of a heftier thing. But I was just going to add, Doctor Who Crystals is our official website for them. They're also available on the bbcshop.com. They have some of the other Doctors as well. I know that you'll be carrying them, so, plug in you guys. And Think Geek actually carries them. So, if you're maybe not comfortable buying from our website, or you're not able to go to a convention where you meet us in person, Think Geek and BBC Shop and some of these other retailers that we're starting to talk to are very interested and actually enjoy carrying the product as well. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for the fans to get their favorite Doctor in crystal.
Well, I definitely am a fan, and I do have to get one for myself, or rather for Randy. Not for me. I mean, I want one, but Randy was really enamored by him, as you've probably heard if you heard the commercial that we had for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Doctor, Mark?
Well, my favorite Doctor would be the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, but Peter Capaldi in New Who would be my favorite, but all-time Tom Baker.
Well, you might know, or maybe not, and for everyone who's listening, so we've been working with the BBC really hard the last few months, and we are actually able... Now, we will have all 13 Doctors out, and they all look beautiful, and we'll have a full set and a full collection. And, I think one of the things that we heard, again, because we go to so many cons, was some of those classic Doctors, they don't make a lot of merchandise for. So, while Tom Baker is really popular, we have Pertwee and Davison and Sylvester McCoy and just, really, like, we have Troughton. And people go, they're not maybe as popular as Capaldi or Tennant, but, for those diehard fans who are going to want to have a little bit of a higher-end collection or a little bit of a nicer collectible, we definitely are so fortunate that the BBC let us do all of the Doctors and cater to every fan and not just the New Who or the first Doctor classic.
And if you want one of these crystal TARDISes without a Doctor in it, you can get a solid classic crystal TARDIS as well.
Absolutely. If you don't have a favorite Doctor, or you just like the
police box,
just the look of the crystal, and it's so hard to explain how beautiful it is, even with pictures over the phone or Skype, but just a solid, the highest end crystal on the market is what we use, and we use 5 different layers of crystal, and we, of course, it's all approved by the BBC, but we use the most exact engraving and carving techniques to really get that police call box, and it all lights up with this custom BBC LED blue base. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a favorite Doctor, then the crystal, we just call it the blank, meaning, there's the classic TARDIS. Blank as in, there's nothing in it.
That's true.
Definitely a really good way to start the collection.
You can find these at DoctorWhoCrystals.com. You can also, like we said, go to conventions. Crystal Carvings is out there. If you want to buy one of these as a Christmas present and you live in the United States, when should they order by? When do you think the shipping deadline will be?
If they'd like one of the doctors that we don't have on our website, shoot us a message and just let us know which doctors you have. We should be having the full collection up early next week. And if you live in the United States, we use 2 to 3 day priority shipping. So I believe that up until probably December 20th, you'd still be able to make it for Christmas. And let me tell you, we've had a ton of people ordering these things because they are great presents for everybody.
If they want to contact you for any reason, you do have a Facebook page?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page. You can message us. It's just Crystal Carvings on Facebook. You can shoot us a message on our Doctor Who website. Any feedback, concerns, comments, we listen to all fans. We want the feedback. We want to have the coolest Doctor Who collectible product on the market, and that is, in our opinion, only possible with feedback from the fans and approval from the BBC.
Well, Clifford, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your wonderful product. Ladies and gentlemen, Clifford Neiman.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Mark Who 42 is proud to have Famous Faces and Funnies as a sponsor of our show. They have literally tons and tons of comic books, novelties, and everything. They're located off of 3020 New Haven Avenue in West Melbourne. If you want to give them a call, let them Mark Who 42 sent you. You can call them at 321-258-3575. But they are a huge store. I mean, you've seen comic stores, but this one is kind of like the Costco of comic stores. They have tons of merchandise. It's incredible. You can go from one store, then there's another section and another section. They have tons and tons of stuff there for you to buy. If you have any geekdom out there, Famous Faces and Funnies has got it. Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. Rick, the guy who runs it, real great guy. You definitely want to check out Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida.
Hello, I'm Katy Manning, and I played Jo Grant in Doctor Who, later to become Jo Grant-Jones in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and you're listening to Mark Who 42. Isn't that the answer to life?
We're back with more of Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm here with Trish Helm-Fryer and Iggy Matthews, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Yep,
You're in trouble.
Am I in trouble?
Oh,
you're outvoted.
Oh, the Estrogen Brigade just won out on me. I'm the sole male here. That's the first. I think it's the first. I think it's the first time that the females outnumbered the males on the show.
Finally, our plan is working. I'm not going to go into a monologue because that's how villains lose.
Is that how you lose?
Yeah, they start, oh, wow, that was part of my evil plan this whole time. See, while you were recording and not paying attention, I managed to, boom, done. Now I'm kicked out. Done. We can't monologue. Which I've always hated that about villains. I'm like, why are you talking? You have him right there. What are you doing?
It's called to make the show, instead of a 10-minute episode, into an hour, or a movie from 15 minutes to an hour and a half. You have to give them a chance to escape and know what the plan is so that they can stop it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, which is why if I was ever a villain, okay, I would not be monologuing. I win. I got you. Okay, here's a detailed written explanation of my monologue while you are captured.
All right. Folks, it's that time again for Convention Report. This Convention Report, it's fun because it's all me. Me. I'm going to these conventions to represent Mark Who 42. The first one will be December 31st, 2017, the New Year's Eve Tampa Bay Time Lord Ball. The Time Lord Ball is hosted by Ken Spivey of the Ken Spivey Band and will be at the Brass Mug from 6 p.m. December 31st to 12:30 a.m. on January 1st. We are rocking in the New Year Who style. For more information on the Time Lord Ball, go to Facebook and type in New Year's Eve Time Lord Ball. in the search engine, and it will take you to that. It's going to be fun. Prices are on there. They're still doing the advanced prices. Tickets are by Eventbrite, but you can buy them straight at the Facebook site. Then on January 28th, we've got Time Lord Fest, Tampa Bay. Sunday the 28th, another Ken Spivey production. I will be there hosting some panels, and we've got guests. We have Louis Robinson, the BBC producer that has done everything from Doctor Who to Sherlock Holmes. He is going to be there. Louise Marie Robinson, an actress who played a Weeping Angel, a Silurian, a Night Terror doll, and a Handbot on Doctor Who will be there. The Ken Spivey Band will be there. Hey, there's this guy Mark Baumgarten that's going to be there. It says it right here on the Facebook page. So he must...
OMG!
Must be going there. So check that out. You can search for them, Time Lord Fest, Tampa Bay, in either Google, Bing, or the Facebook search engine, and you can find out about that. And then in February, on the 24th, it's Comic-Con Revolution, West Palm Beach. It's a first-year convention, and I'm very excited to be appearing there. Other guests that will be there are people like Chris Bacalo, which I think Ed would know. He works on Generation X, the Uncanny X-Men, Shade the Changing Man, and Doctor Strange. Sandy King Carpenter, the writer and producer, will be there. Ming Chen, AMC's comic book man. Trish, if I'm right, didn't I have a panel with Ming Chen at Florida Supercon years ago, the podcasting?
Yeah, you did.
I did. I was on with him, and he's going to be there. Chris Claremont. Ooh, the guy who reinvigorated the Uncanny X-Men will be there. It's going to be a fun convention. Richard Starkings of Elephant Men, that comic, and another actor who's going to be there, Tommy Walker, who was in Netflix's Daredevil, and he plays Henry Danger on Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So these are going to be the cons coming up in the future. Well, this has been the show. I didn't say great show. I said show. No, it's been a great show. It's been a great show.
It's been a great show.
It's been a great show. And we had Trish. Trish was on.
Yay.
Yay,
yes.
Trish.
Yay.
Yay. I like the cut of your jib.
Ooh, I'll tell my husband.
Old, I can say things like
Ooh, we like your style, girl.
We like your style.
This is fun. I miss doing this.
All right. Well, do we have any last words from the Peanut Gallery?
Yeah, that was coded. Figure that one out.
No, it wasn't coded. And you know what? Actually, I have a final word. We are going to be playing on the Christmas show the Doctor Who Velocity audio episode that they're doing. But there's another Doctor Who audio fan audio that's being made Doctor Who, and it's from the Gallifrey Stands podcast. Dr. Squee, a friend of ours, asked me to promote it, so I will. It's called Doctor Who, The Unsaved Planet. And let me play for you the trailer.
Come this Christmas from the Gallifrey Stands podcast. Doctor Who, The Unsaved Planet.
The planet Olak, in the Kaznar system. They were at civil war for 15 years when we visited.
So why return now?
Exactly. We saved them, we move on. Fine? I promised it was your choice.
Welcome to the Olak Alliance. Are you here to help us? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was the doctor. I was rushed into here so fast. I'm sorry I talked out of turn. Please don't hurt me again.
I am President Wash. I heard of the TARDIS landing and had to meet the man and woman who united our people. Doctor, why the visit now?
My companion Orla just wanted to revisit the planet, see how it did after the peace process.
Peace is a great and precious gift, but sadly, some do not see it as so. There is a small group who live in the West who cling to the old ways, and it can get quite dangerous.
Welcome to the Resistance. I'm sorry to say we're not all doing as well as you might think.
Your rebellion is too weak. It won't survive this.
Then we die trying. Already attacks on aliens across the planet are on the rise.
I will not allow my friend to be in danger, to be put in the middle of your underground war.
We only want peace for our world. They want to see it at war again.
So many have died for the President to live in luxury, and the people don't even know it. This is tyranny, and it must end. You won't get away with this.
Oh, but don't you see, we already have. We are as one, with me as its leader. Pure. No aliens tainting our blood. And I will be as if a god!
Starring Dr. Squee as the Doctor, with Joy Johns as President Wash, with Michelle Sewell, Adam Manning, Simon Potast, Brennan Guiley, and featuring Kevin Smith.
Glad to be here.
Ralph Garman.
Yeah, can someone get me another Jack Daniels?
Yuji Cho.
Death to the alien scum!
Bethany Black.
Thank you, sir.
With special introductions by Matt Lucas and Katy Manning. And with a full cast.
So what now? You kill us all and blame the rebels?
Doctor!
Doctor Who The Unsafe Planet is recorded in support of Stonewall. Please go to justgiving.com/The Unsafe Planet and give whatever you can. The play is released 20th of December 2017. On GallifreyStandsPodcast.com, the EMC Network, the Tangent Bound Network, iTunes Podcasts, Stitcher and YouTube.com.
And this is a really great show because Matt Lucas and Katy Manning will be doing introductions for it. And Kevin Smith and Yuji Tso are in this. You got Kevin Smith and Yuji Tso. Kevin Smith, I mean, we got Silent Bob talking.
I know.
In this, in fact, let me play this clip, and I think you'll even get to hear Kevin Smith in this clip. So let me play this.
Yay.
Please welcome Sir Roger Ainley.
Thank you, Lewis. Such a pleasure to be here, and congratulations on the new show.
Oh, thank you, Sir Roger.
Please call me Ainley. All my friends do, and I feel like we are old friends.
Well, if you insist, Ainley, we are so excited about your new book, Mr. Mystery, Trapped in Time, the much-anticipated sequel to the heartbreaking Mr. Mystery, Lost at Christmas. But before we get on to that, it's been a lot of change for you over the past 2 years since leaving office, and what we may say somewhat of an unusual circumstance. You launched the first book, and things have just taken off for you in this new career.
Well, yes. After leaving politics and becoming an author, I felt a freedom I never had. I was so pleased with the first book, and as you know, it was partly based on an incredible man we both met that Christmas.
Incredible. Ruined your press conference and my news reports.
Well, quite. But he turned out to be an amazing man, and helped save the day in a way very few will ever know. It's strange how a man and his friend can walk into your life, turn it upside down, then be gone the next.
Well, we've all dated a few men like that. I know I have in my time.
Here I am, talking about how a man changed my life. Don't let my husband know I said that, and wasn't talking about him.
What the hell?
Wow, man, I gotta stay away from new strains before I record interviews because I'm seeing a blue box appear. Yeah, can someone get me another Jack Daniels?
Ah, Ainley, there you are.
Doctor?
Doctor? I think I could do with a doctor too, love.
Lewis Walsh, I'm a huge fan. I love the special you did with Brittany.
Oh, well, thank you.
How's your husband? Huey, isn't it?
Husband? Huey, my announcer? He's a happily married man.
He is? Oh, right, of course, this is 2017. That doesn't happen till next year. Forget I said anything. Right, Ainley, come along. We're going on a trip.
My word, Doctor, is that really you?
Yes, it's me. I'm wearing the same face and everything.
But where are you going? And how on earth did that box disappear here?
We are going to the planet Olak. And as for the box appearing, well, let me take care of that. Just interview your next guest. I'll have Ainley back before your first ad break.
We're on BBC One. We don't do ads.
You know what I mean. Come along, Ainley.
Well, this is awkward. Next up is Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman. And if my wife is watching, we may need to talk.
Well, what a to-do.
Cool. I can't wait to hear it. You can find it when it comes out, and we will let you know when it comes out. But you can find it on the GallifreyStandsPodcast.com site on the 20th of December. So I guess I do know when it is. And YouTube.com on the same day, December 20th. Listen to The Unsafe Planet from Dr. Squee and Gallifrey Stands Podcast. We've had some simulcast podcasts with them, so I don't feel threatened by their operation, so I can do this kind of thing.
No threat.
No threat. But there is another podcast I'd like you folks to listen to. It's called Who's Listening with Mark and Chris, starring
Who's listening to that?
Well, people are listening to it. It's all about Big Finish audios. We do reviews of the latest and some of the classic audios from Big Finish. Episode 2 should be coming out around the time of this episode as well, so you can find it. Chris, of course, is Chris Baggett of the Gallifrey Rising Facebook page, and Mark is, I think, me. I think I'm on that show. I think I do 2 podcasts.
I think so. I mean, when I look it up, Mark Baumgarten.
Yeah.
I don't know who that guy is. Sounds cool, though.
Sounds cool. So listen out to that and come back next time for more of Mark Who 42 with the regular gang of folk.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone, and have TARDIS will travel.
Goodbye. Bye.
Mark Who 42 is written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Patty Hawkins, and Iggy Matthews. This episode was edited, directed, and produced by Mark Baumgarten. Visit markwho42.net, where you can register and become part of the Hooniverse Army. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42, subject line, ? All the interviews that were used on this show were taped live from the floor of LI Who 5 in Long Island, New York, last November. You can have Mark Who 42 entertain at your next event or convention. Go to heroesonhand.com/markwho42. Space Coast Comics is a free monthly magazine found in over 120 locations currently throughout Brevard County, parts of Osceola, Volusia, and Indian River County in Florida, and available in Chicago. Follow them on Facebook to learn more. Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This show is owned and copyrighted by Mark Who 42 Enterprises, LLC, 2017. This is Krypton Radio.